In this video, I'm going to show you how to fix crooked bear shafts in the target. Maybe you think you have a real good tune, but your bear shafts are sticking in crooked. If that's you, you need to watch this video. If you're new here, my name is Jake Kaminsky. I'm a two-time Olympic silver medalist, and I'm working on making this channel a really good resource for all sorts of archers out there. I have a tuning series, a form series. I'm working on exercise videos for the sport of archery, and ultimately a whole lot of content to help make you a better archer, or at least to teach you the things that I wish I was taught when I was coming up in the sport. So if you haven't by now, hit that subscribe button and a notification bell to be notified every time a new video is uploaded. I'm uploading tons of content lately, and you definitely don't want to miss out on any of that. I also would like to take some time to thank my Patreon supporters. Thanks to their support, I'm able to do this more. I'm putting out more content and going to be expanding this channel thanks to them. Now let's get into talking about how to fix your crooked bear shafts. You're watching the Jake Kaminsky YouTube channel. So this topic is one thing that I get asked a lot, and it comes up very often, and oftentimes people are really unsure how to go about fixing this. It's fairly common, especially when you're not used to tuning a bow a whole lot. As I covered in a recent video, I talk about bear shaft tuning. If you haven't seen that, I'll put a card at the top and there'll be a link in the description below as well. So you basically adjust lots of different things on your bow to make your bear shafts land exactly where your flet shafts are. And when you do that, you'll be able to have really good arrow flight and potentially a very good shooting bow. But this does happen from time to time when your flet shafts and your bear shafts do not stick in at the same angle. They look like you shot them from different spots on the range. And the fix to this is fairly simple, actually. The first fault that I see when this happens, at least for myself, is when I am doing my bear shaft tuning at too close of a distance. So when I'm doing it at 18 meters or 20 yards, especially when I'm getting ready for indoor season. You know, these are indoor arrows anyway. When you shoot 18 meters or 20 yards, you just don't give the bear shafts enough time to plane off in one direction or the other. Meaning they don't quite have enough time or distance to actually show you what they are doing. If I were to give this arrow enough time to show me where its true impact point was, like if I went back to 30 meters where I recommend everybody do their bear shaft tuning, this arrow would actually land over here. And oftentimes you'll see a false tune, and I talk about this a lot. So when I shoot 18 meters and I see a crooked bear shaft like this, I absolutely go back to 30 meters just to check, and lo and behold, this arrow planed off and showed me that it's too stiff. Now, once I go back to 30 meters and they're all sitting in the target like this, chances are they're actually sticking in straight at 30 meters, but now they're just stiff. I will bump my bow weight up to compensate, and I go back to 18 meters, and look at that. Now my bear shafts are sticking in straight. This happens all the time. It's a very common problem. And not many people have access to a 30-meter range to do their tuning at, myself included when I'm doing it indoors. So what I'll do is I'll ask the manager or the owner, especially when nobody's around, and be like, hey, can I shoot behind the shooting line? Oftentimes a lot of places will have either a hallway that leads to the range, a stairwell, something like that. So I'll stand way back from the shooting line, and as long as my arrows are clearing the target, or clearing the ceiling rather, I'll shoot 30 meters indoors, or I'll shoot corner to corner in the building as well. So there are ways around challenges as well. The next major reason for something like this happening with crooked bear shafts is that you don't have your center shot set correctly. And most often, this is the most common thing that I see, because a lot of people, I'll ask them, did you shoot them at 30 meters or 18 meters? And they'll tell me 30, and then I say, well, have you done a walk back yet? Meaning a walk back tune. And they'll say no. So I tell them to, they fix and adjust it, and oh, look at that, their bear shafts now stick in straight. If your bear shafts are tuned well, meaning you're not seeing this flight happen, where they're whipping back and forth or any direction, in some cases, the arrow won't just fly straight, because if your center shot is slightly off, the arrow will actually plane like that. So it will fly down range slightly crooked, and when it does that, it impacts the target crooked and sticks in crooked. Oftentimes, when people have this issue, it's their center shot. So for this exact example, the center shot is too far out. if you were to move the plunger in and adjust your center shot, then the arrows would fly perfect. I've never seen arrows stick in crooked like this because the plunger tension wasn't set 100% correctly, because there are methods of tuning, including a matchstick tune, where you make the plunger rock solid and you can still get your bear shafts to fly like darts and stick in the target straight like this. So the plunger tension really doesn't matter too much on this. It's oftentimes the actual center shot. Now, the other reasons that this type of thing can happen outside of actual tune is more or less has to do with how you're shooting. So chances are this could happen from impact, meaning, or contact. So meaning you're hitting your arm guard as the string's going by, or the string is hitting your chest as you're letting it go. All of those things can really affect the way the arrows are flying and how they look. Or you could get really lucky on your tune, and if the arrow's flying downrange and whipping back and forth like this, it just might happen that all your bear shafts are flying downrange and land like this, and they all stick in crooked. So that's common as well. I've seen that happen just out of sheer luck. Other reasons that you may see your bear shafts not sticking in straight compared to your flet shafts is oftentimes just the target itself. Especially when you start shooting hard bales like Stramit bales and those like compressed bamboo-y wood straw type bales. They're just so hard and they're so inconsistent on the inside that when the arrow actually lands and impacts the target, it kicks one direction or the other. So that's fairly common to see as well. So I wouldn't be worried a whole lot, especially if all of your arrows are sticking in crooked, because chances are it's the target. And I can tell you for sure that this target is by far the best target I have ever owned. It's the best target company out there in my opinion. It's Rinehart. I'll post a link in the description below on where you can get these Rinehart targets. They make them with rebuildable cores, so I can actually pull the core out and put a new one in when it gets worn out. They are so simple to just pull your arrows out of, even shooting them with a compound. By far and above the best target material out there. It doesn't hurt your shoulders when you pull your arrows or anything like that. And I ultimately just can't say enough positive things about these targets, so I really would suggest picking one up if you can. I love this little small one because it's easy to throw in the back of your car or whatever. Take it with you to a tournament so that way you have a target you can blank bail at after the tournament, potentially warm up beforehand, adjust your tune if you really need to. It's really, really a great asset, and actually I've checked this in an airline before and flown with this too, because they just stuck the bag tag onto the handle, and it definitely is a great tool to carry with you if you have one. Thanks for watching, and thank you to my Patreon supporters. If you want to become a Patreon supporter or check out books, apparel, and some seminar info, head to jkaminsky.com, and be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified every time a new video is uploaded. And I appreciate you watching. Thank you again.